Welcome to the March update of the New Haven Willoughby line. I've got a couple of things to show you quickly before this camera starts to pan down awkwardly. Stick around. So this is the old Workbench, and it's taking some abuse over the last week, as that CA is totally stuck to the table, which is always fun. I started, that's some seltzer from last night. I started to scratch build my second structure, and I got basically the four walls laid out, and now I'm starting to get the window placements. I'm not sure if I'm going to try this all by hand or use some computer assistance. I'm thinking possibly to scan the windows in, the sheets in, and then play around with things in real size on Photoshop and then make some templates to cut out. I'm not sure, or whether I'm just going to kind of wing it and measure and cut. At the least, I am going to make some kind of stencil out of something, probably styrene, so that way I know exactly how big I need to cut for the windows. These are titchy, however you want to say it, windows, and you can see there's, I'm sure some of you that have done this before, there's a nice lip there that covers a good portion of any mistake in cutting. So you cut the inside dimension there, and then there's the outside lip, or the flashing, whatever you want to call it, that covers up. So I did that with the door down here, and you can see there's some leeway with how big you cut your hole. So you cut it smaller, obviously, than the outside dimension is on any of these. But I want to get a nice clean template for the inside dimension. That way I can just kind of plop it down, cut around it, and then move on to the next one. That way I don't have to measure each time and guess as to, you know, how big I should cut. So I've got to come up with some kind of system, and I knew that was going to be the case when I got into this, but I need to do that. Also, I'm still using the same styrene that I used before, the stamped stuff, and it's super thin and flimsy. So I'm gonna have to brace these walls. I had to on my other structure, which I know I've updated on Instagram, but I don't think I have shown it on the update finished. So this is how it came out, and I'm pretty pleased with how it came out. But you can see I reinforced a few pieces in there. This roof I really kind of reinforced. Looks terribly ugly, but it's just a small structure that I got a lot of good skills learning on building. I have to make some kind of sign or something for above here. It looks a little open, or empty, I should say, but pretty pleased with it. Roof still needs some weathering. I don't know why it came out so shiny, but it's in some certain light, it catches the shine. You can kind of see it. So I have some weathering on that to do, and it's going to go, I think, in this area. So I need to raise up the ground level, so that's why I've got the cork here. So I'm going to put some Sculptamold down to raise that up. I'm going to do that after this update, or after this portion. Maybe I'll show that later in the video. So that's kind of a mystery. If you're going to see that, if you stick around, maybe you'll figure it out whether I get to that or not. So that's that. So I'm working on that second structure, which will most likely go in this area here. Initially I had this little one here, and I kind of liked it. It kind of fit. But I want something bigger here next to the track. So that's going to go there. This I'm kind of contemplating. I think it might just be a scrapyard. So I'm not sure. But I've got a little bit of space here, so I want to raise the ground level up. So those two things I'm working on, and I finally got the roof somewhat okay on this one. A color kind of changes on the video. I probably need to add some powder to it to weather it a little bit more, but I finally got it much better color. And then this one I finished as well. There's still little details and things I need to add, but that structure's good. And then I did some of these rocks which need more layers of color on there. That's just India ink and alcohol wash on those hand-carved rock. But I'm pretty pleased with that. I'm gonna add some more foliage and then trees. It's gonna be pretty just generic hillside. And then I'm gonna add some structures in here probably down the road, but I started to kind of finish this area up, and I gotta fix that crack a little bit. Kind of paint inside of there so that it's black so you don't notice it as much. And that's pretty much it, what I've done on this area. And then I picked up my latest Locomotive, the 44 tonner, which kind of struggled with getting everything inside. It wasn't as easy as I thought it was going to be. I got an N scale decoder so it fit. It works okay. Can power it up here. And it's a little jumpy, or it just stops. There we go. I probably have to clean the wheels, check the contacts again, clean the track, because I haven't done anything with this track. It's really loud, but it's okay. It still needs some work. I got rid of the little engineer inside and added my own glass on the windows, and it definitely needs weathering. But I'm pretty pleased with it. It came in the scheme that I wanted, the hunter green and orange, and I put in an offer and it was accepted. So kind of a spur of the moment find, but I was super psyched when I got it. I just need to get it better running. And I watched a YouTube video on powering it, or DC enabling it. And one thing that's interesting is it does have two motors in it, so you have to swap the polarity of one of them to get them to both turn in the same direction. So that was kind of interesting to learn. And did not get the lights in yet. There's hardly any room inside of there for anything, and I could be much more efficient with my wiring, but I hate to have the wire on decoders just barely reach anything when it's hardwired directly to the motor. So I probably have way too much wire in there, but again, I hate to have it just so short that you can't move anything, or you have to stretch the wire to get it to fit and so forth. So the downside of having too much wire is, getting everything to fit inside. So that's the latest addition to the fleet, and I think that's it for the update. Stick around for some ops, and I will probably get this part a little bit more underway. So stay tuned for that, and we'll see you back here in a minute. Okay, so I got all of the Sculptamold on this section and leveled it out, and it's not quite dry yet, so it's kind of at a perfect consistency to smooth it out, which is really nice. So you can see here, if I just rub that a little bit, it smooths it out pretty nicely. So right now it's pretty good consistency. I did it before dinner, and now it is after dinner. It's obviously not an exact time, as everybody eats dinner differently, but yeah, so that's it. It's all level, looks pretty good. Once the turf and the ballast goes in there, it'll be all set, and the track will be level, and this section will look great. It'll look, like a spur, a yard, track, a siding, whatever you want to call it. And I was thinking something like this for that structure, which will kind of fit nicely in there. And I'm not sure what's going to go in this area, but once I get the turf and stuff and figure some things out, that'll be it. So that's the update. Stay tuned for some train running, and have a happy March. See you next month for the April update. Take care.